I want to commend the Florida legislature for getting the bill to my desk in such a short amount of time. I want to point out that this is a far different way of operating than the typical inefficiency we see from the federal government in Washington. Today should serve as an example to the entire country that government can and must move fast. I said at the beginning of this process less than 3 weeks ago that we have to be very careful as we balance our individual rights with our need for public safety. I called on the legislature to give me a bill that will allow us to make our schools far safer, allowing for a much greater law enforcement presence and for hardening our school buildings. This bill does that. I called on the legislature to give me a bill which provides more funding for mental health services. This bill does that. I called on the legislature to give me a bill which gives us the ability to seek restraining orders to keep guns away from people with mental health problems and for people who are a danger to themselves and others. This bill does that. I asked for a bill which would ban bump stocks and raise the age to purchase a gun from 18 to 21. And this bill does that. However, there are things in this bill that I oppose, and I've been pretty open about that. I still think law enforcement officers should be the ones to protect our schools. I've heard all the arguments for teachers to be armed, and while this bill was significantly changed on this topic, I am still not persuaded. I am glad, however, that the plan in this bill is not mandatory, which means it will be up to locally elected officials. Will this bill make a huge investment and dramatically improve school safety in hopes of never seeing another tragedy like this again? Will this bill provide more funding to treat the mentally ill? Will this bill give far more tools to keep guns away from people who should not have them? The answer to all three is yes. And that is why I'm signing the legislation today.
I wish I could tell you that I'm happy, but how could we be happy? We buried his sister, and I buried my daughter. To me, this is a start for us, and I'm proud of everyone that I work with in this office, all the way up to Governor Scott. This is a start.
We have paid a terrible price for this progress. We call on more states to follow Florida's lead and create meaningful legislation to make all schools safer. This time must be different.